Let me tell you something nobody in the dating advice space wants to admit. Most of the advice out there, the routines, the openers, the frame control techniques, all of it is built on one hidden assumption, that you are not enough as you are, that you need a system, that attraction is something you manufacture. And I spent years believing that. I watched the videos, took notes, practiced lines in the mirror, and you know what happened? The more I tried to perform confidence, the more people could feel that I was performing. Here's what I eventually figured out, and it took embarrassingly long. Attraction isn't something you trigger, it's something you emit. It's a byproduct of who you are when nobody's watching. When you're not trying to impress anyone, when you're just fully yourself, without apology. Today I want to walk you through 5 genuine shifts. Not tricks, not scripts. Real psychological changes that change how you carry yourself, how you communicate, and ultimately, how people experience you. These aren't hacks, they're harder than hacks, but they're also the only thing that actually works. Shift 1. Stop seeking approval, start seeking clarity. Here's something most men have completely backwards. When they meet a woman they're attracted to, their brain immediately shifts into evaluation mode, but they're evaluating themselves. Am I interesting enough? Did that land? Does she like me? The entire internal conversation becomes about winning her approval. And here's the psychological reality of that. When your entire focus is on whether someone approves of you, you stop actually being present with them. You become an approval-seeking machine wearing a human face. People feel that. They don't always know why someone feels exhausting to be around, but needy approval-seeking is almost always the reason. The common mistake: you're on a date. It's going well, you think, and you start mirroring everything she says. She likes hiking. You love hiking. She's vegetarian. You've been thinking about cutting back on meat. You laugh a little too loud at her jokes. You agree with opinions you don't actually hold. All of it is unconscious. All of it is driven by the same thing: the terror of not being liked. The better response: shift the internal question. Instead of, does she like me? Start asking, do I like her? Is this person someone I want to spend more time with? This is not arrogance. This is a quality. You are also a person with standards, preferences, and judgment. You are also evaluating. That shift, from seeking approval to seeking clarity, completely changes how you show up. Your posture changes. Your eye contact gets steadier. You stop performing and start paying attention. Real life example. 2 guys on a first date. Same woman, same situation. Guy A is trying to be likable. He's monitoring her face for feedback after every sentence. By the end of the night, he's said almost nothing, genuinely revealing about himself. She texts her friend afterward, "He was fine, I guess, kinda bland." Guy B walks in, actually curious about her. He asks real questions. When she says something he disagrees with, he says, calmly, without aggression, "That's interesting. I actually see it differently." He's not trying to win. He's trying to connect. She texts her friend, "Something about him just felt different." The memorable truth here: approval seeking repels the very thing it's chasing. Shift 2. Learn to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. Most relational dysfunction in men, the clinginess, the jealousy, the over-explaining, the desperate texts, all of it traces back to one thing: an inability to tolerate emotional discomfort. She doesn't reply for 6 hours. He sends a follow-up, then another one, then a slightly passive-aggressive one, then an apologetic one for the passive-aggressive one. By the time she responds, she's watching a man unravel in real time. And it's not because she was ignoring him. It's because he cannot sit with uncertainty. This is not a character flaw. It's a nervous system issue. When something feels threatening, even ambiguously threatening like silence, your brain triggers an anxiety response. And the fastest relief from anxiety is action. Send the message, get the answer, resolve the uncertainty. The problem is that the action itself creates the outcome you were afraid of. The common mistake: treating emotional discomfort as a problem that needs to be immediately solved through external reassurance. Texting, calling, asking, "Are we okay?" for the 3rd time in a week, making someone else responsible for regulating your inner state. The better response: build what psychologists call distress tolerance, the ability to feel anxious, uncertain, or rejected without immediately acting on that feeling. This is a trainable skill. It looks like this. She hasn't replied. You notice the anxiety rising. You name it internally. I'm feeling anxious right now. And then you do something that has nothing to do with her. You go to the gym, you call a friend, you work on something, you let the discomfort exist without feeding it. This isn't playing games. It isn't wait 3 days to seem cool. It's genuine emotional regulation. And the side effect, the beautiful side effect, is that you stop being a person whose emotional state is controlled by someone else's texting habits. Real life example. She goes quiet for a few days after what felt like a great date. 2 responses. Response A. He sends a series of increasingly anxious messages, each one trying to explain or re-spark something. She feels pressure. She pulls back further. Response B. He notices the silence, feels the discomfort, and decides he's not going to act from anxiety. 3 days later, he sends one simple message. Not desperate, not loaded with subtext. Just genuine. She responds warmly. She actually explains. She'd been dealing with something personal. He almost torched something real because of 6 hours of silence he couldn't tolerate. The memorable truth. The man who can sit with uncertainty is terrifying to lose and comfortable to be around. Shift 3. Have opinions, hold positions, and stop disappearing to please people. There's a version of nice that isn't actually nice. It's conflict avoidant. It's people-pleasing dressed up as kindness, and it makes you invisible. Psychologically, what happens when you constantly go along with what other people want, defer to their preferences, avoid expressing disagreement? You become unpredictable in the worst way. Not because you're mysterious, but because nobody can get a read on who you actually are. And people don't fall for profiles. They fall for presence, for personality with edges, for someone who actually stands somewhere. The common mistake: she asks where you want to eat. You say, whatever you want. She picks a place. You say, it sounds great. You don't actually like that place. You spend the evening being agreeable and pleasant and completely unmemorable. You think you're being easygoing. She experiences you as absent, or worse, she says something you genuinely disagree with. About politics, about a mutual friend, about something she did that actually bothered you. And instead of saying so, carefully, respectfully, you just absorb it. You nod, you move on. And a small piece of your self-respect goes with it. The better response: have preferences, communicate them. When she asks where you want to eat, tell her. When she says something you disagree with, engage with it honestly. When something bothers you, say it, not as an accusation, but as information. Hey, I want to be honest with you. When that happened, it actually bothered me a little. This is not dominance. This is not alpha behavior. This is just being a complete person. People with opinions are engaging. People who hold their positions calmly, without needing to win, are compelling. There is a difference between being rigid and being grounded. Groundedness is attractive. Rigidity is exhausting. Formlessness is forgettable. Real-life example. She cancels plans last minute for the second time. Option 1. He says, no worries, whenever works for you. She feels no consequence, no sense that his time has real value. Option 2. He says, warmly without drama, I get it. Life happens. I'll be honest though, when it happens twice in a row, I start to wonder if we're on the same page about this. Let me know when you know you're free, and we'll try again. He's not giving an ultimatum. He's not punishing her. He's communicating honestly. She now knows he has a pulse. She now knows his time means something to him. That's the version of him she wants to make time for. The memorable truth. Disappearing to keep the peace teaches people they can make you disappear whenever they want. Shift 4. Build a life. Gaston, you're not willing to abandon for anyone. This is the one people treat as abstract. It's not. It's the most practical thing on this list. There's a pattern that plays out constantly. A man meets a woman he's really into, and within weeks his life starts reshaping itself around her. He cancels plans with friends, he drops hobbies, His schedule suddenly has convenient openings whenever she's available. He is, without realizing it, communicating one thing very loudly. I have nothing going on that matters more than you. And here's the painful irony. He does this because he values her. But what it signals is that he doesn't value himself. And you cannot be deeply attracted to someone who treats themselves as a supporting character in their own life. The psychological explanation: psychologists talk about something called identity fusion, where the self becomes enmeshed with a relationship to the point where the relationship becomes the source of meaning, self-worth, and daily structure. Early in a relationship, this can look like passion. Over time, it looks like suffocation. The person on the receiving end starts to feel like they're carrying you. That weight is not romantic. The common mistake: structuring your availability around her schedule, saying yes to everything she suggests and no to your own plans, making her your primary source of social and emotional fulfillment before you've built anything real together. The better response: protect your life, not as a tactic, as a genuine act of self-respect. Keep the gym schedule. Keep the Tuesday night with your friends. Keep working on the project that matters to you. When she asks what you're up to this weekend, the honest answer should sometimes be, I've got some things going on. I'm free Saturday evening if you want to do something. That's not playing hard to get. That's being a person with a life. A person with a life is interesting. A person with a life gives the relationship room to breathe, instead of collapsing it under the weight of too much availability too soon. Real life example: 2 guys, same situation. Both really like her. Guy A rearranges everything. She becomes the center of gravity. Within a month, she tells him she doesn't feel that spark. He's confused because he gave her everything. But that's exactly the problem. You can't have a spark with someone who reflects whatever light you point at them. Guy B stays invested in his own life. She notices he doesn't always reply instantly. She notices he sometimes can't make the plan she suggested but offers an alternative. She notices he has opinions about how he spends his time. She finds herself looking forward to seeing him because she doesn't have unlimited access. Not because he's manufactured scarcity, because he genuinely has a life. The memorable truth: the most attractive version of you is the one that exists when no one is watching. Shift 5. Let things end without losing yourself in the process. This might be the hardest one, because everything we've talked about, the clarity, the emotional regulation, the opinions, the full life, all of it gets tested the moment something ends, or starts to end, or feels like it might be ending. That's when most men collapse the entire architecture they've built. They start begging, over-explaining, writing long messages that are really just elaborate attempts to get back something that's already gone, negotiating for affection that was freely given before and cannot be restored through argument. And I understand it. Losing someone you genuinely wanted is painful. There's nothing weak about that pain. The feeling is real and valid and deserves to be taken seriously. But the response to that feeling is everything. The psychological explanation: when a relationship ends or becomes uncertain, the brain processes it similarly to physical threat. The attachment system activates. You'll feel urges that seem logical but aren't. The urge to explain yourself one more time, to reach out just to check, to find the right words that will fix things. These urges feel like love. They're actually anxiety in disguise. The difference between grieving with dignity and losing yourself in protest is the difference between honoring what something meant and trying to resurrect it through force. The common mistake: treating the end of something as a problem to be solved rather than an experience to be processed. Sending the long text, having the repeated conversation, trying to negotiate someone back into wanting you. Each attempt to reverse the outcome makes it more final and leaves you with less self-respect on the other side. The better response: let it land. Feel it. Talk to someone you trust about it. Go through it instead of around it. And when the urge to reach out hits, and it will, ask yourself honestly, am I reaching out because this is genuinely good for both of us? Or am I reaching out to relieve my own discomfort? Most of the time, you'll know the honest answer. Honor it. The exit tells people everything about who you are. Walk out of things, even painful things. as the same person you were walking in. Your values don't change because someone stopped choosing you. Real life example, she tells him it's not working for her. He's devastated, genuinely. He takes a few days before he responds. When he does, he says something honest and brief. That's disappointing to hear. I respect it. Take care of yourself. No pleading, no anger, no punishing silence designed to make her regret it. Just dignity. A week later, she tells her friend, I still think about how he handled that. I've never had someone just respect it like that. He didn't win her back. That's not the point. The point is, he walked out of that moment still fully himself. And that person, the one who handles loss with grace, is exactly the kind of person people tend to come back to, or deeply respect, or both. The memorable truth. How you leave something says more about you than how you entered it. Here's the honest summary. None of this is about becoming magnetic or unignorable, or whatever else gets promised in thumbnail text. It's simpler and more demanding than that. It's about becoming someone you genuinely respect, someone who knows what they want and says so, someone who can feel discomfort without acting from it, someone with a real life, real opinions, and real standards. Not because those things attract people, but because they're worth having. The attraction is a side effect. Self-respect is the actual goal. And the strange thing is, when you stop making attraction the goal, when you stop measuring your worth by whether someone chooses you today, you become exactly the kind of person people want to choose. Not because you engineered it, because you stop needing it quite so badly. That's the whole game. Stop performing, start being, let the results follow.